Hello, I'm Hansi Parchment. You're watching Talawa TV with Crystal Davis.
I think the uniqueness of the Reggae Girls is they embody the national motto of Jamaica, which is out of many one people. So when you look at the entirety of the Jamaica squad, you have dark-skinned girls, mixed-race girls, girls who have black and Asian in them. You also have the homegrown players, so like your Bunny Shaw, your Konya Plummer, your Denden Blackwood. So what that means in terms of from a grassroots perspective is girls who are born in Jamaica can look at a Bunny Shaw and hear that authentic accent and say, you know, if Bunny can make it, then so can I. Once you hear that authenticity, that raw Jamaican accent, they should be able to look at a Bunny Shaw who's now a captain to say, if Bunny can do it, especially if you come from the same community, the same parish as her, if she can do it, then so can we.
I want to give a big bless up to the Reggae Girls out there. They ain't believe in us. Ja did. Reggae Girls, keep winning, keep inspiring. I know you're going to be great out there, World Cup. Sadella Marley, number love. Bless up from DJ Khaled.
And I'm represent for the Reggae Girls. You know what I mean? Big up on yourself every time. Especially if you're qualifying for the World Cup back to back. You know what I mean? Sidela, big up yourself. One love every time. You know the thing go. Blessing off a flow like a river. Blessing off a flow like a river. What the Reggae Girls do? Left them name night earth like a queen. Me have to big up the top soccer team. You know Massacre represent. Jamaica supporting every time. You know the thing go.
Hello, I'm Hansi Parchment. You're watching Talawa TV with Crystal Davis.
I feel like I'm from UK, you know.
See the moonlights on the town. Whoa, I'm getting ready. Talawa TV is in the town. Whoa, I'm getting ready. Got a corner on the telephone. Yeah, this is the Ocean of the Messenger, and you're watching Talawa TV with the host and best. Davis, take it away.
My Talowers, how are you all? Good afternoon, good evening, possibly good morning. All depends on where you are in the world. Welcome back to another live stream. Before I forget my manners, thank you guys for tuning into my live stream. You know how it goes. If you're out and about, I do hope that you make it home safe and unharmed, because walking through your doors is an underrated blessing. If you're over on my channel, Talawa TV, do go ahead and hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, please do go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Also, if you're watching over on the Reggae Boys and Girls Supporters Club, kindly do the same. Hit that like button. It doesn't cost you a penny. And if you're new to the channel, please do go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Likewise, please do the same for my special guest and his platform. That is Mr. CC Sports Lab. He's a bit of a regular resident over on my channel these days. Can't complain. Still apparently feeling blue, but I think I'll allow him to let you guys know all about that. I do want you to be extra nice to my guest, because this is actually his birthday weekend and he's giving up his time for us. All right, so do be nice in the comment section as you guys usually are. Mr. CC Sports, how are you, sir?
I'm okay, you know. Still feeling the blue, but you understand. Still rocking with Chelsea, still rocking with Jamaica, even though it was very heartbreaking last night. So close, and as I said, Granny always said, nearly not kill the bud. Yeah, so close all the time, and to be dropping out at this stage, it feels so real, Crystal. It's somewhat like we've been here so many times with different youth teams. U20 team, I remember goal difference. The other U20 team when we lost 1-0, and then this U17 team. We basically just needed a draw, a point, and for there's no other word. Like, we can't be cute with it. We bottled it. We bottled it like we were we were working for a Pepsi or Coca-Cola or some of those other bottling companies. We bottled it. Probably the Spurs. It was Spursy last night.
Oh, it's very bold of you after what happened on Friday night. It's very bold of you there, CC Sports.
Yeah, but you remember, we understand Spurs is not a team who win championship, so they will win a few games, but we understand already, man. When they get the opportunity, They ain't winning nothing.
I should really allow you to have a full go at Tottenham. I tell people all the time, segueing a bit, that Spurs and Tottenham fans absolutely, Spurs and Tottenham, Spurs and Chelsea fans absolutely despise each other, and people just don't get it, that there is genuine hatred there between those two clubs. So I get it. And I do agree with you. Very Spursy performance last night. What do you make of the game plan though? Because I think it was a questionable game plan. I think, I would like to have been a fly on the wall. It seems as if there was two different messages there being translated to the players at the start of either halves. I don't know. I'm just speaking purely based off assumption. There's also like little glimpses of the senior team trait, and there's a trait that we all despise in the men's senior team: long balls. We started off that first 45 and you could see little long balls here and there. Obviously, maybe you disagree with me, but for me, long balls, particularly when we've seen it with the senior men's team, it doesn't complement our DNA, our natural ability to utilize what we're good at. And what we're good at is we should be at this point playing to our strengths. Our strength is the pace, the speed, and the power, as we have seen in other sports like athletics.
Yeah, so as you said, like the long ball, it's like we drop back to route one. Whenever we're under pressure, we say route one, get it up to the big guy up top, and then we try to figure out something. But the game plan is just like when you're going to school, Crystal. If you aim for 100 and you get 95, you're still okay, right? But if you aim for 50, like the pass mark, and you don't get 50, you're going to fail. And it seems like that was the situation last night. We should have been aiming for 3 points. And if we came out with a draw, that's fine, because the opposition needs a win. Just look at it like they need a W, we need a point. But if we went for a W and got a point, then that's fine, because as the game goes along, they will have to open up themselves. Even when we equalized and the game was 1-1, all we needed to do is take back control of the game and draw the El Salvadorans in, because they needed to win. So they would have been coming at us and trying to open up themselves, which would leave spaces for us to exploit. But I just think that the game plan was to go in there and get a draw, and we went in there to get a draw and ended up losing.
100%. I think I definitely agree with you there. I think we wanted to play it safe, which is diabolical given the magnitude of the game. Like, why would you play it safe against a team like El Salvador? We've been there before with these types of teams. We know what they're capable of, particularly in the latter stages of previous matches. History speaks for itself. They did something that we are so used to being on the back end of, and that is the wonders of dark arts. I know you know what I'm talking about when we talk about dark arts, but I think last night, one of the things that really got us was marginal errors. And funny enough, it had nothing to do with kicking the ball itself. It just goes back to that dark arts. One of the beauties of dark arts is time wasting. And it's magical when you're the one that's doing it, but when you're on the receiving end, it's not so great. Why is it that we as a football nation, and it's pretty much across the board in the men's program and in the women's program, from youth level all the way up to the senior team, that we don't seem to embrace dark arts? And it is fully legal. So why have we not adapted that to our game?
Like that's trying to. I've always said it, like we play the game as if we're some Bible toting, like we are too Christian with the game. There's things in the game that we can do, as I said, dark arts that we could embrace, things that we could do to not allow for such an error late in the game. And it's all across the board for every team, every single team that Jamaica has, all across the board. When it's late in games, it seems as if we panic and we give up opportunities. And as I said, we are not embracing of the dark arts where we can take some time off of the clock here and there and frustrate the opponent. It's almost as if like we're playing the opponent with the greatest of respect. Once we're on the field, we're we're at battle, we're at war. Once we come off the field, then everybody can shake hands and that's it. But I don't think we should be smiling. At one point in time, I thought when, like if you would clash a player and you're going to a tackle, you get up into a player's face. You understand? Like, get them frustrated, get them riled up. Yeah, because at some point in time in the Crystal, if somebody, all right, some people are going to bash me for this, but if we got the El Salvadorans riled up after the game is 1-1 and we realize, oh, they were getting momentum, get them riled up, do some fouls to break up the play. If it is even somebody gets a red card, so be it, because at the time we need to qualify. So whatever it is within the rules of the game that we need to do, we do it.
Interesting one. That I think what you're probably touching on is, maybe I've misinterpreted you, but accountability. Who do you think should have stood up and held themselves accountable, aside from the obvious? I'm assuming people are going to say, the players should have made themselves accountable, as we have seen in previous matches. In particular, that game against Cayman Islands, we had a few of the players there stood up and took the games into their hands, grabbed the game by the scruff of the neck, and managed to get that superior, although it was only just 1 goal difference between us and El Salvador. Nevertheless, still the superior goal difference that we needed. So who do you think should have stepped up and, like I said, held themselves accountable?
I think it's the coaching staff in terms of adding that fight and that aggression into the team. It's all good when you're being technical, it's all good bouncing the ball around, but when it comes down to like playing some of these countries, you have to understand that sometimes you have to understand that they might be a little bit more technical than us. So you gotta be a little bit more physical with them. Like, you cannot allow them to build up a head of steam. And I think the accountability in terms of the aggressive play, in terms of aggression, has to come from the coaching staff. This idea of being nice and playing nice, I don't want to see it. Like, even when I don't see where the coach was on the left sideline as if he's Mr. Cool. He's not getting angry. He's not shouting. He's not, you understand? Like, some people don't understand like the magnitude of the occasion and what we needed to do. And for me, Crystal, it's almost as if the docile set of people were brought to the Caribbean, were brought to Jamaica or something, because I don't know where we got this docility from in our nature.
Intriguing point there. Yeah, I think, like I said, I see similar traits displayed across the board, not just with the U17s boys, but just again through to the senior teams. And in terms of those dark arts there that we touched on earlier on, like I said, you see it in other program as well. I know if you could backstep a bit and look at the 2023 World Cup, FIFA Women's World Cup, that is, latter stages, knockout round, Colombia. For me, it's the dark arts that gave them the win over us. The idea of, like I said, one of the dark arts is to time waste. Another dark arts that you alluded to is getting into their heads to basically throw them off track. But as I said, that just seems to be something that we haven't adapted to our game yet. Not really sure why that is, but we've not bought into it.
And also, Crystal, I think given even the mixture of this team, where you had pretty much 50% of the team in academies outside of Jamaica, like we were hoping that this would have bring some form of change in the campaign. Since we've qualified a couple of times, we thought that this would have been, a difference in we would have had several players that are not necessarily players coming through schoolboy football. We had a mixture between the players who would have played schoolboy football in Jamaica and then the other half coming from academies overseas. Yeah. So I think some people would want to say, oh, the Jamaican market and professionalism and all of these things. However, I think they have to go first and look at the squad and the makeup of the squad to know where the different players are from before they make any comment and make any statement suggesting otherwise, right? Because
Yeah.
there's this group of people, Crystal, that likes to blame. First of all, yeah, some people they like to point a finger at a certain subsection of Jamaica, or they point a next finger at our next subsection. So this period of time, I'm not pointing any fingers at anything, but the makeup of the team is pretty much a blend between locals. When I said local, I mean locally developed players and overseas developed players coming together. And I saw them play some good football, but I just thought that the coaching staff could have done a little bit more to put them in a much more professional, not professional, sorry, a much more aggressive mindset. Like we need 3 wins, we need 3 Ws. This idea that we went in the final game needing a D, needing a draw, should have not been in there. It should have said the mission is 3 wins to get to the World Cup. The World Cup was expanded to 48 teams, Crystal. We qualified for our World Cup when it was 24 teams. So can you imagine when it's 48 teams and we're not in it? Okay.
So before we move on, what would you change going forward? Would you keep things the same, or is there a decision that you would make that you think, okay, making this decision would benefit the team in the long run?
For me, it's in terms of, I think it's a okay way to go forward in terms of like having a coach in place before tournaments, because we used to curse and don't like the fact that a month before the tournament we would have had a coach. A month before the tournament is when preparation would have started. And remember, it's a new cycle now. The World Cup will be every year. It's annual, right? So for me, I think this is the way going forward in terms of having a coach, having a cadre of players, and in terms of changing anything, I think in terms of our approach and our mindset with respect to the game, and understanding that you just like how you have the tactical, you have the technical, there's also the mental and the physical, because it's 4 pillars to the game. So the mental and the physical is just as important as the tactical and the technical. Those are the 4 areas. And I think for some reason, Crystal, we have not found a way to master those 4 areas. It's just like when you're doing math in school. If you can't do addition, division, subtraction, and multiplication, then you won't be able to do math at a higher level. So you have to master
Yeah.
those basics, because those are the 4 basics. So the
Yeah.
pillars on which football is built on is technical, tactical, physical, and mental. And once we are able to master the 4 basics, then we can take it up a level. Sometimes we could be better in the physical aspect, we could be better in the mental aspect, and then we could lean on the technical and tactical side of things. But if we're not superior, we have to lean into the things that we are superior in. So I think that is the approach in terms of, for me, that's what I would change. Going back to the fundamentals, understanding the fact that these are the things that we need to tick off and look at which one of the area we are superior to other teams in, and lean into that superiority. For example, Brazil is, when it comes down to technical, when it comes
Mm.
down to mental, but I don't think the Brazilians are much that physical, right? So they would lean into their technicality, passing, the silk passing, movements, and all of those things. And when you look at the Germans, they're tactical, right? They're technical as well. So it depends. We have to understand we are in the physical category and the mental category, and we have to lean into that and work on our technical and
Athleticism that
tactical.
we spoke about, capitalizing on your strengths.
Yes, yes. Because it's 4 pillars. It's just like if you're doing math. As I said, you're strong in addition, division, subtraction, and you master all of them, However, you're trying to always change the math in and around division. You're trying to bring back yourself to dividing. For example, I'll give you an example, Crystal. A person will ask you 5 times 10, and you're, instead of going 5 times 10, you decide to do it a way in which you're more comfortable with. You're adding it because you're not so strong in, if it goes up to bigger figures, you're trying to do it through addition. So that's what I'm talking about, leaning into the strength of what you're better at, or what you're higher in, because not everything will be at the same level for every team. Every team has a different gift. As I said, the Brazilians, we give them the technical side of it. I think the Europeans, you have the like the Italians and the Europeans tactical side of it, and the Africans physical side of it. You understand? So we have to understand which area those do we fall in, and the areas that we fall short and we make up for in the areas that we are strong in.
I agree with you with the mental aspect. That's something that I didn't even think of, but I think you're right. We've seen that the mentality plays a massive part in football at all levels, be it whether you're looking at grassroots, whether you're looking at club football or international football. It really can be the difference between you qualifying for major tournaments, so like your CONCACAF championship, subsequently your World Cups, in between, going to knockout rounds and lifting trophies and so on. So I know we do have at one point I was aware of the fact that we had a sports psychologist. I'm not sure if that psychologist is available to the youth setup, but I think that you've struck a interesting point, an interesting reminder pertaining to the importance of making sure that we're mentally prepared going into these high pressured games. And maybe, yeah, if they don't have a sports psychologist, maybe that's something. Not even maybe. I definitely think that's something that is worth consideration, both for the youth programs where the men's and the women's team are concerned. So hopefully that's something that the JFF, if they're not already doing it, don't quote me, it's not gospel. I don't know. I'm just saying if it's not being done, then definitely they should get to doing that. Thank you for those of you who have hit the like button, and those of you who are utilizing the comment section. Make sure you hit the like button on my channel, as well as the Reggae Boys and Reggae Girls Supporters Club. Also, make sure you subscribe to CC Sports Lab over on YouTube. All right, we don't have long with you guys, so we are going to do a little segue and kind of let's see if we can lift the mood a bit. Talk about one of our very own. You should be able to recognize the player on the screen in front of you in case you can't see him. I don't know, maybe you're driving and you're listening rather than looking at what we're doing, which is the right thing to do, both hands on the wheel. We're looking at a photo of Mr. Mikel Antonio, that is West Ham's Mikel Antonio. It's a very recent picture that came out some days ago, and clearly there you can see that he is in the gym. Looks like he's in the gym to me. I'm not going to speak too deep about Mikel Antonio and what happened back in December, because I don't really want to trigger no one. I'm fairly confident that we're all on the same page about Mikel Antonio glossing over. Unfortunately, he was in a car accident. Thankfully, by the grace of God, he's still alive and here with us. That's the most important part. Some further news to give to you guys, adding to what I've said pertaining to the fact that he's on a road to hopefully, God's willing, a full recovery. There's various articles out there that you could read. West Ham have continued to pay Antonio's contract, which may yet be extended after seeing him ruled out for immediate plans. It has been suggested that the 34-year-old will require at least 12 months in which to make full recovery. If you want to go a little bit deeper into the latest on Mikel Antonio, I might be able to guide you in the right direction. That process remains ongoing for now, with the Daily Mail reporting on how Antonio has headed to the Middle East for some intense warm weather training. He is said to be making positive and steady progress during the program in the United Arab Emirates. So I'm assuming this is a very straightforward answer from yourself, CC. Happy to see Mikel Antonio back up and running.
Yes, happy to see Mikel Antonio back up and running. Crystal, it's like for me, they said Antonio would have not played football again, but I think people should write off Antonio at their own peril, because this is a guy who is coming from non-league to the Premier League, right? And
Absolutely.
West Ham would have tried a lot of times to replace him, spending millions of dollars from Scamacca to Danny Ings, Nicholas Fulkrug, Sebastian Haller.
Salary And Hala
Yes,
was there at one point.
yes. Allah was
Chris
there.
was there
Full
at one point.
was there. Skamaka was there. You understand? Danny Ings was there, and at the end of it, this guy came out on top, being the main man at West Ham. So no matter how you look at it, he's a fighter. He's one that is will always put in the work. We see it when he comes to play for Jamaica. We see it when he's playing for West Ham. And for me, like, I just wish him a speedy recovery, and you can see that he wants to play at a World Cup. He wants to continue playing football, and I think there's this drive to. I think the drive of playing at a World Cup with Jamaica is also in the back of his mind, where he's saying 2026 is coming up and he cannot afford to miss this opportunity. So I think, like, I would not write him off. I think speedy recovery. I think he will come back fit again and able to put in some great performances for Jamaica and also for his club, and just overall in terms of him in his good spirits. But as I said before, he's done it before coming from non-league. A lot of English players would understand, players who play football would understand, like, to come from the non-league and come straight to the and come up the ranks and be a part of the Premier League. Like, it's not easy. And in
Charge.
football, oh yeah, it's like is the 1% that makes it in terms
Mhm.
of go to the academies and stuff. So you can know the Jamie Vardy's, the Mikel Antonios, the Ethan Pinnocks. Those guys are just rare gems, and we have two of those gems, Ethan Pinnock being one, and I think this guy, Mikel Antonio, real character, real gentleman. Because I've been I've traveled with him before. Real gentleman, real, like the energy is genuine, Crystal.
No,
So
you're
for
right.
me,
You're right. For a big
yeah,
lad, he comes across as quite gentle. For someone that's
yes,
so
yeah.
big,
Like
is
whatever
is
I say, like, yeah,
yeah, I agree with you. Just to echo what you've said, I think the most important thing with Mikel Antonio is that thank God he's alive. That's the most important thing. Like football is just dare I say, irrelevant when your life is on the line. Like, what is football? What is your job? What is your 9 to 5? The most important thing here is that he's alive and well. Again, I don't want to go too deep with this one because I don't want to trigger no one. I don't want to open up any trauma for anyone. So I'm not going to talk too deep about that moment there back in December. As I said, the most important thing is he's on a road of a steady recovery, and long may it continue. CC Sports is on the ground in Jamaica, and he's probably, if it all goes according to God's plan, I'm sure the Cavalier fans will agree with me, he might be seeing arguably the world's greatest player taken to the field at the National Stadium. We're going to get onto that in a little while. It just might happen. I'm sure you guys have been keeping in the loop with all things Jamaica football. So let's just brush over a few things before we go into whether or not we're going to be seeing Messi playing on home soil. The big question that I want you guys to answer is, does the IPL want Messi to play in Jamaica? You're probably thinking, Messi play in Jamaica? Yes, he's
by the
Argentine.
IPL, we mean the Independent Spark
Yes,
Limited.
yes, yes. I know,
Yes.
not the Indian Premier League. We're going to get on that. I don't want to confuse no one, so I'm going to get onto that in a short little while. But yes, obviously, we're not talking about Messi playing for Jamaica. The Argentine himself. He'll be looking to defend his crown at the FIFA 2026 Men's World Cup next year. So you're probably wondering how could Messi be playing in Jamaica at the national office? Well, let's just remind ourselves of the Cavalier and their crown. And the headline here does say Cavalier FC could face Lionel Messi's Inter Miami in 2025 CONCACAF Champions Cup. I'll give you a little bit of a brief read as to how this one might pan out. Jamaica Premier League champions Cavalier FC found themselves facing Lionel Messi and Inter Miami it should say, my apologies, could find themselves facing Lionel Messi and Inter Miami in the 2025 CONCACAF Champions Cup. However, Here's the big however. Inter Miami must first overcome Sporting Kansas City in round one to set up the enticing matchup. The potential clash was revealed following Tuesday's official draw conducted in Miami, Florida for the region's premier men's club competition. Now, I say Tuesday, this is a dated article taking us all the way back to December the 11th, 2024. How's everyone feeling in Jamaica about the prospect of Messi potentially showing up to the national stadium, even if it is to have him in the stadium? I mean, whether or not he will take to the field of play, I have my own personal view on that. And we're going to get onto that in a short while. But how's everyone feeling about maybe seeing arguably the greatest footballer on the planet at the national stadium?
I mean, Crystal, like I think the sentiments for a lot of the Messites is that like a lot of persons are even no disrespect, but not even thinking about the game that Cavaliers have to go through in order before they could get a possibility of playing into Miami. Everyone that is a Messi fan, an Argentina fan, which I am not either, but I mean everybody else that is.
Right.
Yes.
I'm surprised. I thought you was a Messi fan.
No, 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 no. I'm not a Messi fan. But I mean, but maybe because I'm not an Argentine fan.
Oh,
But
fair enough.
yeah, but he's a brilliant football player. Like as I said, arguably the greatest player. I mean, so and I think he would have been one of three generational. They have different generational talent, but one of three players where they were highly talked about in their generation: Messi, Pele, Maradona, all of those guys. But there's a lot of persons who are very, very excited, and I mean, they are not even thinking about Sporting Kansas, no disrespect, but they are thinking about Inter Miami. Sometimes you say pump your brakes, but you can see where the adrenaline. Some persons probably won't ever in their life get an opportunity to go and watch Lionel Messi internationally. So imagine Lionel Messi coming to the Jamaica National Stadium. You can understand that maybe there won't be anyone left at home because everybody would try to get an opportunity to come and see that. That is history. So I think with that, it's right now it's exciting. People are excited, and I think closer to the time, you will see the excitement being ramped up.
Hope you're right, CC Sports. I do pray to God that you're right. Before we go any further, I am cautious of time. Gonna go ahead and play a video there of our national stadium. So you guys could have a little look at what the national stadium's how the national stadium's looking like in case you haven't seen it in a minute. Go ahead and sit back and watch this one with us. And if you guys want me to give that another spin, I can actually give it another spin, and then we're going to talk about the IPL and share our thoughts on the national stadium and whether or not Jamaica, more importantly, the IPL is doing all they can to bring Messi to Jamaica, pending that they qualify and they're able to face off against Cavalier. Okay, they do have that all-important two-leg clash there coming up this week. So let's just go ahead and watch that video once more before we move on. So, CC Sports, that grass, can you see Messi playing on that field, given that he
Not a
pending that
chance.
fight?
Not a
Not a chance.
chance. I don't
Not a
see.
chance.
No,
There's a dead
like
chance. IPL.
No, because remember Messi has World Cup qualification games for Argentina as well. So it's
Yep.
almost like you will be putting yourself in jeopardy. I'm sorry to
Mm,
say people, but I don't feel like that. He might come to Jamaica, change his boots a couple times, camera turns and shows him a couple times, but not going onto that field because it's two legs anyway. So
added.
I don't see Messi playing on that field, and that's understandable because it's
Yeah,
not
absolutely. He has his crown to defend. Absolutely.
and
So,
it's,
I know when we talk about sorry to interject, Cece. I know when we talk about the stadium, a lot of people, and to be honest, I don't blame you, because unless you do your wider reading, you probably put the blame at the feet of the JFF. So now when we're talking about the National Stadium, a lot of people do jump the gun and they're quick to ask, so why is the JFF not doing something? Why haven't they improved the stadium? But it's not actually their job to do so. I'm trying to get something up on the screen, but it doesn't appear to be working. I think I might have to close my shared screen and then go again so that we could all look at this one together to find out where we're at and who the IPL is. Again, that is not the Indian Premier League. We're not talking about cricket, not on tonight's show. I don't know, maybe in the future we will, but definitely not on tonight's show. Okay, so we're talking about the IPL as in the Independence Park Limited, right? And here's a little background into the IPL. Again, that's the abbreviation for the Independence Park Limited. And so it says here, the Independence Park Limited is a government owned company incorporated in 2001 with responsibility of carrying on the business of operators, promoters, proprietors, and managers of the sporting and recreational facilities. The IPL's mission is to manage the entities under its control as viable facilities, ensuring that they are maintained at world class standards and are available for use by the people of Jamaica. The IPL is also required to ensure that its facilities generate sufficient revenue for their proper management and upkeep. I think we can spot multiple things that's wrong with what's on screen in front of us, right? CC. I think there he is. I'm not sure what happened there. I'm not sure if you managed to catch on to what's on the screen in front of you, but as I was saying, I think you can see multiple things that's wrong with, who the IPL is and what they're supposed to be doing, given what's on the screen in front of us.
yeah. So I'm seeing what you're doing. My battery died and
That's okay.
my laptop, so yeah. So I mean, in terms of them being the caretakers of the stadium, it's just not they're just not doing a good job, Crystal. It's just for me, I'm not sure if it is that they're not generating enough revenue to upkeep the facilities or what is going on, because for Jamaica to be the maker of sports in the Caribbean, and I'm not disrespecting anyone else in the Caribbean, but when it comes on to cricket, netball, track and field, football, when it comes on to anything sports, like Jamaica is a giant in the Caribbean, and for us right now, we're at a crossroads in a lot of tournaments, right? Right now, there's a situation where Michael Johnson is carrying a brand new track event to Jamaica, and he would have made his debut in Jamaica. And it's a similar situation with the stadium. A lot of persons probably don't
Mhm.
into track, but I'm just saying it's just a shame. We saw with the Cricket
Yeah,
World Cup the situation which Jamaica couldn't beat for the Cricket World Cup because of poor facilities. So how are we trying to get to the top of sports in the world with poor facilities? We can't compete with the big boys and not be having proper facilities. And I think over the years we have allowed our facilities to run down. I think we treat sports just like how we treat music. We look at it as second rated. We don't think of it as sitting in the upper class. I'm not sure if they think some of the persons who play sports, Talawa, you will notice, Crystal, that some of the persons who play sports are from more of the vulnerable areas They're more from the
Mm.
vulnerable sides of society. So I'm not sure, and also some of the persons who does music. So I'm not sure if that is the reason as to why sports is looked down upon the way it is. And for people might curse and say, "Oh, sports is not looked down upon," but over the years we have seen the facilities deteriorated. We have seen when it comes down to our sporting infrastructures, the deterioration. So if that is not something that you can identify and say it's been looked down upon, then I don't know what you would need to look. I don't know what other evidence you need to see.
No, yeah, I think you're right. I've never watched horse racing in Jamaica, but I imagine the field for horse racing is immaculate, right? As it would be. I know we're dealing with different, who is in charge of what. For example, I'm just saying, because you touched on like, I think you're talking about a class divide, right? I think that's what you was alluding to. So I'm saying, their ability to maintain their field. I'm sure, again, like I said, I've not watched horse racing in Jamaica, but it must look world class because again, the type of people that they're catering to and so on. As does golf. I know it is different to the national stadium people. I'm just talking about the ability to keep to manage proper upkeep as it does state on the screen there in front of you. I don't know what you make of the national stadium and whether or not you feel as if it is part of the reason why let's say like the men's senior team, I'm not using it as an excuse, but would you say that part of the reasons why we look better playing away from home is because of the state of the pitch? And I'm only trying to tap into that mental aspect that you touched on earlier on in the show. As I said on previous live stream, again pertaining to the state of the national stadium, I think when you have players from the diaspora, or playing within the diaspora, they don't necessarily have to be birthed in the diaspora, playing within the diaspora, so that be, the United States or in the UK or I don't know, Saudi Pro League, where they're so used to professionalism of its highest standard. I think when you look at like the mental aspect, when they come back home, I feel like part of the science of it all is their mind telling them, be cautious, don't overcommit yourself, don't go into too deep of a tackle because it could be a career-ending injury. I mean, we were talking about Mikel Antonio not too long ago, and we saw that one of Mikel Antonio's games where he came and played for us, I think it was in maybe a year or two ago, it was in like the latter stages of that particular year, and he almost had a season-ending injury on home soil. So do you think the the science of it all and the lack of upkeep, proper management from or lack of proper management from the Independence Park is probably one of the reasons why we have such poor performances on home soil in comparisons to how well we play overseas?
Crystal. It can be because, as I said, we don't have a proper field. Like it's just there. We don't. The facility is just not conducive to proper football. And as you stated, when we go overseas, we play much better. And it's not like we have the home support overseas given to us, like which we would have had recent times in the national stadium. So it's just that when we're playing on better surfaces, and a lot of these players are used to playing on better surfaces, they show their class. But when you come on, you play on, I don't know what to call it, if I want to say a pigsty per se, then what do you
I mean, I've
expect?
seen pig pen that look better than that, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, so
There are some pretty immaculate pig pens.
but it's pretty much like I don't, as I said before, I am not sure as to why sports get this type of treatment. And you will have people come and say, "Oh, sports get the most funding here, sports get the most funding there." There's so much money there's so much revenue you could generate from sports that it's no kidding. For in Jamaica, we have tourism up there, but tourism, sports, and music are the three main things I think can get Jamaica into that international um spotlight, and it has gotten Jamaica into that international spotlight. But we keep on ignoring two of the main ones, which is sports and music, and we're focusing
And sports right now, sports is one of those ones that we have ignored. There are several competitions that keeps over the years, and we are not able to host any of those competitions simply because our facilities are not third world, not fourth world. They're just not good enough. They're just absolutely not good enough. It's disgraceful.
CC. Hi everybody, it's Shavan here. Thanks for having me, Crystal.
Hey, Siobhan.
Um, Quick question, CC. Do you think it could be a thing where it's just the persons that are in charge of running these facilities? Either it's greed or they lack that particular vision in seeing what those respective what I call it, no fields can generate for the country. Because, all right, for example, the national stadium. We can see the video that's going around with of the national stadium. But yet still, we have games coming up soon against. Well, the Reggae Boy should have had a game there, but that has been pushed. Cavaliers does have a game there potentially against Messi. But wouldn't you think it would be more feasible for the organizers of the stadium to say, "Hey, let us just have let us just give us some time because some of the track meets because they're still having track meets at the stadium every weekend. There was a track meet at the stadium yesterday, and persons would be on the field as well. So that would give the field less time to rehabilitate, to recover from the damages he would have that he would have received during the recent concert. I'm pretty sure though a lot of those events can be held for 1 year, for just 1 year. Can most of those events can be held at JC? JC has a track, they have a stance. So I'm not sure. Do you think it's greed,
I'm gonna tell
Crystal?
you. I think. Look at it like this, Shavan. First of all, it's as I said before, it's the ignoring of certain aspects of our culture as
Mm.
to why this is happening. Number one, music, right? If it is that we have not ignored music, we would have not needed to keep a music event at the stadium because we would have had a facility built for music. If we were uplifting our reggae and dancehall music to the levels that we should be uplifting it, we would have a dedicated facility, dedicated venue,
Entertainment facility.
entertainment venue to keep any of those events, right? Where we could keep it year over year after year, like, and we Jamaica is an entertainment country. We keep events there's an event every month, and there's huge events in the calendar year. So for me, I don't think anything should be kept on the stadium field because we just don't have the facility. Like some countries, they have retractable fields where they could just retract the field and they can keep the event inside the stadium, right?
All right, but CC, there's something you said something earlier that I kind of want to challenge to some aspect when you were saying that sports in general is not really taken as a priority. I kind of challenge that. I think there's one sport I believe that they take priority over the others, and that's track and field. Because during the concert, both the track and the field was damaged extensively. Because the track was dug up, the field was dug up as well. But we've seen where they've actually patched the track. The issue that they're currently having with the track right now, it's just that the track itself, it just look pitchy patchy. There are some parts that are brighter than some. That's the issue that they have with the track. So recently, the sports minister had a press conference where she mentioned that they're going to be working on the track and they're going to be working on the lights. There were no mention of the field. So that goes to, and in that same press conference, she mentioned champs. She mentioned the same event from Michael Johnson. There was no mention there of a potential match against Lionel Messi. There was no mention of a Reggae Boys World Cup qualifiers. There was none of those. The only thing that was mentioned was the track itself. So my belief is that their main interest is the track, and a lot of persons that's where their main interest is. Because when you hear persons, you hear a popular media personnel. He released a video today. I think the video was like 11 minutes long, and his main focus on that video was about the track. when I believe the field is in a more deplorable condition than the track. The field is extremely. I looked at a video that Bam posted yesterday when he was at the stadium, and that was that the field looked disgusting. So I don't believe it's just. I don't think it's sports in general. I just think track and field itself, as what some person say, football is the middle child. And I honestly believe, as what Don Frassa is mentioning, every single football vlogger should come together and actually make note about this. 'Cause everybody is silent about this. Nobody's talking about this. I'm not sure why. The only time you hear persons talking about this is when it's a week before the game or a couple of days before the game, and then they blame the JFF at that time. So
But
I
as I said
believe that.
before, the JFF, as you said, Siobhan, everybody should go. And I think people like to blame the JFF for the field, and they don't know the JFF people. The JFF don't own no field. The JFF doesn't own a football field, other than probably they have access to. I think the field at UE, what is it called? The
No, man,
turf
that's
field.
theirs. Those are theirs.
Yeah,
Yeah, those
yeah,
fields are there.
that's
But
I'm
it's
saying
just
outside of that facility. They don't own no field. So the field when Jamaica plays on the field, it is rented. They pay for Jamaica to play in the national stadium. So
exactly.
those of you who are quick to jump on the JFF back, I'm not a JFF defender. I'm just saying, I'm not a midfielder or a forward for them. But I'm just saying, the people like to blame JFF for the condition of the field. And it is not the Jamaica Football Federation fault that the field is in that condition. It is the people who are in charge, the Independence Park Limited,
Indeed.
by extension, the government agency that is in charge of it. And
Um.
they need to make sure it looks better than it is.
Also, so 876 Jamrock. So I keep hearing persons saying this all the while. The JFF needs to build a stadium. Blah blah blah. Show me a country in the world where a football federation build stadiums. I'd like for persons to show me that. Because CC, if you know of any, let me know as well. Because
That I don't.
what I know is that you will have the municipalities, the cities, and the government of countries. They build stadiums. They're
And
the
some
ones who build,
private
and the
investors.
clubs, and also the clubs as well.
Exactly.
So the JFF, there's no country in the world in which a football federation itself will basically build a stadium. I've never heard that. When
And
the
that's it.
US when the US plays their games, they play their games at facilities owned by MLS clubs. And those clubs and those stadiums are not actually built by the clubs. They're actually built by the city and in partnership with the club. So person need to get that. Stop putting everything on the JFF. People just need to be a bit
Yeah,
more realistic.
and that is the thing, Shavan. I think a lot of persons they everybody keeps coming. The JFF needs to build the JFF this, the JFF that, the JFF. Yes, is the custodians of football in Jamaica, but that doesn't mean they're the ones to build a stadium. Like we're not asking the USSF, as I said, the Federation of the US. Nobody's asking the Canada Federation, the Mexican Federation. None of these federations in CONCACAF are building. They have built stadiums, to my knowledge, for where the team have played. So I don't understand why it is that everybody is always on this idea. And yeah, determine you say in terms of waiting on the government, it's not a matter of waiting on the government. It's a matter of their responsibility. So it's not about waiting on the government. The JFF does not have. All right, put it like this: the JFF doesn't have the revenue. I'm gonna touch upon something else. The JFF don't have the revenue to do it. This is the next thing. You guys want the JFF to build a stadium. But when the JFF is trying something with JFF Live, I never really want to go there. You guys are cursing it out. And that's
Not
just a
only
way
that,
of.
not only that, when they the other day when they rented when the game was being played in Arnett and the price went up to $3,000, everybody are complaining. So how them expect the JFF for generate revenue?
That is what I said. Oh, that exactly. This is like they want the JFF to get the money out of sky. The people, all right. Yes, you're paying when you pay your money, you want quality product. That's fine. We know that. And then the next thing too, I don't think people listen to the press conference to Shavan. it was a mashup of
I think your
in terms of,
connection is a
and
bit.
then
I think
it is a partnership between JFF. Sorry,
I
and
think
then
your
it's a
connection going
partnership
away.
between JFF and another. You hear me?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's me, but I think from my end, I think you're chopping up a bit.
Oh,
Crystal, are you
we're not
here?
sure.
Yeah, yeah,
Crystal,
yeah. I mean,
yeah.
as she was talking, the only one that I could really think of is Wembley Stadium. I know we can't compare us to like Wembley Stadium, but that's like the only one that I can think of.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. The English FA,
yeah,
they're
but
the FA, they're the ones who control Wembley Stadium.
yeah, but it's like we can't even compare ourselves to Wembley Stadium. And like I said, I can only think of one. I can't think of not. I'll need to sit and
Yeah,
obviously search,
even
but
the great US, the big bad
mm,
and mighty US. Because I've watched a lot of sporting documentaries across the world, etc., especially for the US. And every single time a club itself wants to build a stadium, they have to go through so many things.
yeah, yeah,
But I've never heard we don't and determine. You don't need to be typing all caps. You don't need to shout. This is just a conversation. You don't need to get disrespectful. There's nothing about knowing history. Different solving a problem is different from somebody saying the JFF should just get up and build a stadium. Do you know what it takes
yeah.
to
Build a
What
build a
stadium.
stadium?
you're probably onto you're both probably onto something right there. Maybe it's a case of maybe it's a case of a couple of the sporting bodies coming together and we're building our own multi-purpose sports stadium. I know we're going to fix the national stadium, but maybe that's a suggestion that we could potentially look at. Maybe we could have
But
this.
Crystal, look into it, Crystal. All right. So
Mm,
determined saying we should go overseas and beg for money, right? But when the JFF is actually doing something to generate some revenue, probably to put towards other stuff, not necessarily stadium, but put
yeah.
towards funding of sporting programs, people are complaining. And I'm not saying they don't have a right to complain. You have a right to complain, but you cannot ask the JFF to do things without money. And then you're turning around saying they should go and beg money. But are you willing to say, okay, these are the issues that we have. Please to fix these issues so we get a smooth product. But we are going to support in this aspect. This is how we can support, and this is how you guys can give us proper content. Simple enough. But guess what? They rather for the JFF to go and beg and then comes out and say, JFF build a stadium, JFF buy a school, JFF feed the homeless, JFF do this, JFF, all them
And
people that have the ball.
I know the worst thing is CC. A lot of those same persons, if the JFF say they were to get up now and start to build a stadium, some of those same persons are going to get up now and say the JFF needs to invest that money into building the communities, football in the communities in the island
Yes.
instead of.
Yeah, me tell you, say they will soon say JFF feed the homeless. JFF, how comes no school not have no good football field? JFF, well, how comes this a player not have no boots? JFF, JFF, JFF. That's all.
Currently, exactly. Currently, we have a facility that can host an international football game. But instead of putting the blame on the persons who are in charge of that, they are placing the blame on the JFF. That's what I find funny, you know. There is a national stadium there. There is a national stadium. So if the JFF cannot be, because CC can tell you, CC is in a football group with me. Every day I come up with ideas on how we can potentially build a stadium. But I know within myself, I am somebody that thinks straight. I know currently it's not possible. So utilize what we have right now. But what we have right now, it's not being maintained and nobody's saying anything about it. Currently, you know, I am a Messi fan, you know, and CC, you can be a Messi fan and not be Argentinian. Now, if you call you out on that, can call you because I am a Brazilian fan. But guess what? I am not biased. I can be realistic. All right. So currently, look at this, you know, people, and stop thinking about JF. Don't put JFF in every single thing when I think. Keep JFF out of your mind. Lionel Messi has the potential of coming to play in Jamaica. We knew about this from in December, right, Crystal?
Absolutely.
From December, there's a potential of him coming to Jamaica. But Yet still, the field got damaged on the 31st of December, and it doesn't look like
Yeah,
as if
yeah,
it doesn't seem
contact.
as if any form of work has been done on the field to get the field to to a state in which you can say, all right, if Messi does, because I don't care what nobody says, Lionel Messi coming to play in Jamaica would be the biggest sporting event in Jamaica's history so far. If anybody want to disagree with that, then fine. But in my opinion, I think that would be the greatest sporting event in Jamaica's history if to have Lionel Messi play at the National Stadium. And I honestly believe that will sell out the National Stadium. Stop playing games at the stadium, bro, but they will never work because our leaders don't have the to pull the trigger. Nobody's saying stop playing games at the stadium. What persons are saying, what I was saying earlier is the events that are keeping now, the small events at the stadium, move them to other facilities in the interim so they can fully focus on fixing the stadium. Fix the track for champs. Work on the field for Messi to come here. You know how much revenue in the national stadium the same government can get off of Messi coming to. Think about it. How much persons you think are gonna come and fly down from foreign for come to Jamaica for watch the game at CC? How much revenue you think Jamaica can get off of that?
Local Jamaicans probably would struggle to get tickets.
Maybe we'll see
Exact,
Crystal too.
exactly.
Fly down, why not?
I heard Mr. Speed saying that the price for a ticket for bleachers would be $1,000. So they're basically making it available to almost every single person in Jamaica to come out and watch Messi play.
Once in a lifetime opportunity.
Once in a life, possibly a once in a lifetime. You don't need a passport to see Messi in living color.
And you know what,
Hold on,
Siobhan,
unless you're Ocho resident.
Unless you're an Ochiras resident, you're going to need a passport to come to Kingston. Yeah, we know that already. Yeah.
very foreign. Just
But
piggybacking on what you're saying, Siobhan, and I think that's the disappointment of it all. It's like, fair play to Cavaliers and Mr. Speed. They've done their business. Yes, it's a possibility that, obviously Messi and Inter Miami need to do their business, but the most important part is that Mr. Speed and Cavaliers have done it's job done for them. And if it is a case of Cavalier versus Inter Miami and Messi isn't there, then this is on the head of the IPL and no one else, because you are not, if you're Messi, you're not going to touch that field, not with a basketball. It's just not happening.
It's not. I as much as I would want Messi to come, if the field is in that condition, why would I want him to stay here to complain on that? Messi plays almost in the middle of the field, and you can't have Messi playing on that.
Like what we were saying, Trevon, as well, it wouldn't be the first that he would miss let's say a major game or like games in general for Inter Miami, because he doesn't play on certain surfaces to begin with.
He doesn't play on the artificial turfs, so it just goes to show that if the surf is not good, jokey, you think Messi is stupid, man, and you're like our nationality, it won't happen on that. I think some persons just really probably need to just move out of the comment section, to be honest. But I leave it at that. If you don't know to be respectful, I don't think we really need to talk to them. But honestly, Crystal, it would hurt me because I know, because I've spoken to Mr. Speed directly, and Mr. Speed has said it multiple times. He wants Messi to come here. And Mr. Speed, the same concern. You said the video that I sent you.
Mm-hmm.
I showed Mr. Speed, and Mr. Speed said that he saw it and he sent it to them, and they promised him that the field is going to be ready. But when I looked,
though, isn't it?
When I looked at the field yesterday, it even looked worse than the video that I showed you.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Like I said, as I said, fair play to Mr. Speed and Cavaliers. They've done their job. We can only big them up and be proud of what they've done. And if it is Cavalier versus Inter Miami and Messi don't come to Jamaica, then like I said, to be honest with you, someone in the comment section is absolutely right. All hell should break loose, and pressure does bust pipe. And I think the reason why the IPL have been getting away with brutal murder is because they're hiding, they're being cowards, they're hiding behind the JFF.
I don't think they're hiding in a per se. I just think persons are just putting the blame on the JFF for everything.
That's what you know, you're absolutely right. But this is what I'm saying. They're not coming out and making any statements, because even when it comes to talking about sports in general, no one is talking about football. They're talking about athletics. They're talking about track and field. They're not talking about football because people are being cowards, because they know the JFF gets the bulk of every single game.
True. That's true. That's true.
So me, if I work for the IPL and it's my job to oversee the upkeep and management of the field, and I know that there's no one there to hold me accountable, and also Siobhan's getting the blame, I'm gonna be like, okay, let Siobhan get the blame, because you don't know my name. Let Siobhan take. Let him
the
take
last time I think there was an issue. CC, the last issue was I think it was the lighting crystal, and they spoke with the person in charge of it, and he was so nonchalant about it. He was literally so nonchalant about the situation, as if he really didn't care. And I'm saying that.
Said it. I was having a conversation with a family member of mine, and we were talking about nonchalant. And really and truly, I feel like you're being kind. You answered your own question. You're being kind. You're saying the person was nonchalant, but really and truly, they don't care. They have no reason to care. It's not nonchalant. There's a fine line between nonchalant and just simply not caring. Don't care. That's what it is.
And I think Don Frasser, I think he did make a statement, and I wish more YouTubers, because it for the past 5 years, I think it has shown what the power of the YouTube community can do. I think every single YouTuber should shine light on this particular matter. Every single one of the YouTubers should shine light on this matter, because it honestly cannot continue. Because what's going to happen if Jamaica, what would have been the situation for Jamaica if for the Gold Cup prelim game? What if the Sabina Park was being utilized by by the West Indies? Then Jamaica wouldn't be able to play at Sabina Park. So where would we have played that game?
I think you're right. I guess it's a case of watch this space. It doesn't seem like they're going to get their act together unless, like you said, all the YouTubers come together and say, hey, look, we need to highlight this issue, because before we know it, it's going to be our problem again. It's going to be the Reggae Boyz problem. It's going to be the Reggae Girls problem. And we have 2 World Cup qualifying campaigns that we're looking at. Exactly. You know, we got the 2026 World Cup qualifiers coming up around the corner. Before you blink, we're looking at the 2027 World Cup qualifiers. Our players have to play on these matches, guys. One of the things I hate about our culture is no one care about the crap when it's at your doorstep until that crap shows up at their doorstep as well.
All right, Crystal, I'm gonna want to give you an example. Last year, I remember. I don't know if CC remembers this. You remember the Chris Brown concert?
Yeah.
I was one of the only persons weeks before Chris Brown concert, and I made it weird, guys. This Chris Brown concert is going to be an issue for the Reggae Boyz, because the Chris Brown concert is going to be like 2 weeks before the Reggae Boyz has a game, and everybody was kind of brushing it off. After the Chris Brown concert, the field was damaged. A week before the game, that's when everybody started crying out. And I'm saying, like, you see, you need to be proactive instead of reactive. Think about some of these things.
Sorry to cut you off, Siobhan. No, continue. I'm going to ask you something, but continue.
Yeah, nothing. I'm not sure why is it that our culture is such a reactive culture, because a lot of these things could have been. I'm not the smartest person, I know that, but if I can stay a mile away and can see it. When I heard about the Cartel concert, I was saying, all right, I know the field was going to be mashed up, but I'm saying, all right, they should be able to get their act together for March, because that's basically 3 months. That's 3 months, and up to now the field is how it is right now.
It's crazy. I need you to find out something for me pertaining to like the contractual agreement between the JFF and the IPL. Is there anywhere in the contract where the let's say the IPL will be held, say, liable for injuries caused because of the poor conditions of the field of play. Do you reckon you could find that out for me, or maybe you already know that?
Um, I'm not sure if there is any, to be honest. I can
Because
probably ask. I can probably
there
ask
isn't.
around.
If there isn't, then maybe that needs to be introduced in any agreement going forward, you know, in terms of insurance purposes and who covers the cost of a player coming on and being injured. And that goes for all players, you know, the young reggae boys, the young reggae girls, and the senior players, everyone, even the coaching staff, everyone should be covered for that.
Yeah, that's true because all right, so I remember well, I don't think there is. I remember when I was younger, I played on the National Stadium field. Um, right at the side of the field, Crystal, there's a little slope right there. When I
Hmm.
was running, I actually twisted my ankle because of the slope, and nothing came out of it.
You know, if that happened over here, you'll be laughing your way to the bank, right?
Yeah, so I don't think there is anything there. I just think they provide the pitch and they try to provide a what they call good enough surface to play on,
Yeah, you know
and then
what? I think there is some. I think what we're talking about holds water, but it just reminded me. It reminds me of the Jamaican way of doing things. It's just the way they do it, so that's just it. No, I disagree. That can't run. So I think you probably need to have a conversation with the JFF and say, hey, is there anything like in the contractual agreement? And if there isn't, then this needs to be implemented going forward. And maybe they might see that, hey, look, we mean business. Like you got to get your house in order, type of thing. You know, determined. I feel like I've seen you on my channel before. I'm pretty much surprised by what you're saying in the comment section, because this is not the first time that we're spoken about the poor state of the field at the national stadium. So we're not talking about it because it's messy. Like
no, the
that's
reason why is because we're kind of not blaming the JFF. Jamaicans have this thing
ah,
when you're
okay.
not blaming the JFF for world hunger and and for global warming.
Can remember that Leon Bailey was blaming the JFF pretty much, you know.
Yeah,
That's between Leon Bailey and what the JFF situation was at the time. But as
so
you say,
every if you're not
we
blaming
not
the
blame
JFF
JFF
for
free fail.
everything, I
So
realize with most fans, they tend to switch their motives because I'm pretty sure I have been calling out this pitch for the longest while. There's
yeah, you have
nobody
always
here
said it.
there's nobody here that has nobody criticized any player for calling out the pitch. Nobody here. But if you want to nitpick, then whatever. There's realize to show that you can't be really fair. Because everybody here comes on and they blame the pitch. We always
Play
complain
the
about the
games in
pitch.
which way? Where? No, stop. The man say play the game in New York or Florida, brother. We can't have. You know, so remember one time, Crystal. I don't know if you remember that time when Jamaica was playing games overseas and it was home games. We can't be talking about playing the national game overseas.
All
The
right,
same.
so
It's the same
Simon, hold on.
thing. What am I?
Simon actually explained that why it can't play over in the US. Because we're going to be playing a Caribbean team, we cannot take the Caribbean team out of the Caribbean region. So Simon actually explained that. So
All right,
if we
see
were
that.
probably playing Canada or the US, then fine, we could take it there. But I'm saying because it's a Caribbean team, we can't take it out because the JFF did kind of explore that option. So hence the reason why it went to Sabina Park and determine if the JFF
Oh, by the
they
way,
have to pay for it.
they put in light in a Sabina Park.
Um,
There's
I'm
no
not
light.
sure.
There's no light over there. No?
I mean, I think it should be there by because I think cricket will be played 2 weeks. Will end 2 weeks before the Jamaica game. So I think,
Pink ball or ball.
Crystal, look at that coming from Money Pro Music.
I saw it, but I don't know what they mean by that. I think this is my first time seeing them on the channel. I don't know what they mean by it. JFF.
Because they all right. You see, you see the meteor that hit the earth and caused the ice age is the JFF fault. You see, you see every
Man
single
said
farm
JFF is the only one need to be blamed. I can't believe this.
JFF to be blamed for every single thing that happening in this world. JFF determine you're going to use Haiti's situation to judge Jamaica. They determine Jamaica. All right, you know what? But yeah, but that's what I realized, Crystal. And the JFF, people blame the JFF for every single thing. The JFF is arguably one of the worst, it's not even the worst run football organization in the world. Because there's so many others worse than the JFF. But the JFF is not perfect. The JFF is to be blamed about the condition of the facilities.
Well, it's not there. I think he probably just came into the live stream. I don't think he understands it's not their responsibility.
All right, Money Pro Music. So me must blame CC for the condition. So your house in a deplorable condition. I must blame CC for it. CC, may I blame you? If Money Pro Music house in a this area, you may I blame for it here.
No, if you ask a man, say for example, I'm voicing at a studio. Cause Money Pro Music, Me have voice at one studio, Money Pro Music, right? And when I got the studio, the place run down. Yeah, should I be blamed for the condition of the studio? Huh? I can't be blamed for the condition of the studio, bro. I paid for studio time. Like, what are you talking about? Money Pro Music, you gotta know the difference. JFF doesn't own a stadium. JFF doesn't own any facility. JFF pays rent. That is why after a certain time, when you're in a stadium,
The
they're
light lock
asking
off.
you to leave because the light is going to be locked off.
Exactly.
Because they cannot afford to pay for the lights to be on for an extended period of time. JFF does not own a stadium.
And look on the second to last comment there from Jamrat now. You see? The disrespect. See?
Jamrock, because I think a lot of them don't understand. Remember, this
No,
is one.
no, hold on, no, hold on. Why is it that with Jamaicans, whenever you say something that they opposed to, they become disrespectful? And
Someone
money
told me once, Siobhan, and this is how I look at things within our community particularly. And I think it comes back to education. And I'm not trying to call no one dunce, just broadly speaking. If you notice when you're trying to have a conversation with someone to get your point across and they start to become disrespectful, they're swearing at you, they're shouting at you, I think that comes back to education. They just don't have that ability to argue their point across without being disrespectful.
yeah, I find it funny. But all right,
Yeah,
but
someone told me once and I was just like, okay, it makes sense now. You know?
all right. So Money Pro Music. So the JFF is not to blame. It's the owners of the stadium. It's to be blamed, which is the IPL. Independence Park Limited. They're the ones in charge of the stadium. They're the ones tasked with running the stadium. So what happens? The JFF rents the facility from them because it is one of two facilities in the country that can host international games. The Sabina Park pitch is not really designed for football, hence the reason why they rarely go there.
But by the way, the JFF doesn't own Sabina either.
JFF doesn't
So
own
let me
Sabina; they
put
would
that
have to
out there.
rent it as well.
The JFF doesn't own the Chilani multi-purpose stadium either. They don't own Catching Hall either.
Yeah, so Money Per Music, yes, I kind of figured that you probably didn't know, but the JFF doesn't own a stadium. They don't own the stadium, hence the reason why champs and all of those things is held there. That's the reason why, as I mentioned, when you're at the stadium, as CC mentioned, after 5 or so minutes after the game ends, you start see lights being turned off. Yeah, so that's something that somebody JFF continue to pay rent. Most of our star players are fighting to get released to play for Jamaica. Thing please. Huh? Understand that. Why they don't build their stadium? All right, Money Pro. So, all right. So to build a stadium, it's really, really expensive. Um, these are something that me and some persons within our group have mentioned, have spoken about, to see if we can come up with
I
some
match
form
my
of
post match in the
initiative and
fence.
see if we can bring to the JFF. But for the JFF to outrightly build a stadium, you rarely see a federation build a stadium. You rarely see it. I mean, the only federation in the world I know that actually owns a stadium, it's the English FA.
So
Everywhere else in the
people,
everywhere else in the world, club facilities are used, and then something like the national stadium, in which the government owns, those facilities are upkept, are kept, and they are properly repaired. They are they are they are they make sure that whenever the team needs them, it's actually there for them to use. So that's what's the issue here. No, so it's not necessarily, not saying, like I said, the JFF is not perfect. There's a lot of stuff that needs to be done in the JFF, but it's not everything that they are actually at fault for.
I just think, and this is why I think new media does play a significant role into where we're at currently. Because I've been guilty of that, and it comes back to education. And when I say that, I'm not being disrespectful, but that's why I say sometimes when I say things on my channel, I say to my subscribers, don't take what I'm saying as gospel. Do your wider reading, do your wider research, because the more you read, the more you know. And I think the reason why we pin the blame, like the upkeep or the lack of upkeep from the national stadium um on the JFS, is because we literally don't know, because we're not stepping out of our comfort zones to educate ourselves and do those wider readings to find out who is actually in charge. So I think that's something that we need to get better at as fans, just like you would do reading when it comes to your club that you support, be it in the English Premier League, Bundesliga, La Liga, or wherever. Do the same when it comes to your national team. Do the same when it comes to your country, because as we've said, it's not their responsibility to take care of the national stadium. That is the job of the IPL, not the India Premier League or the Indian Premier League, but the Indians Park Limited. We spoke about the Independence Park Limited at the early stage of the middle part of the show, I should say. So before I close off, because I've gone well over my time, I'm going to segue and talk about the JFF, the JFF, the Senior Reggae Girls. I actually wanted to ask Siobhan if he's going to be traveling for this game by any chance, because we know that the JFF, we're actually expecting for those two games against Peru, those two international friendlies against Peru, to be shown on the JFF live. I'm not sure if that's something that you will be heading up, Siobhan, by any chance.
No, the games will be a transmission will be sent, a live feed will be sent to us, and then it will be streamed on the JFF live page.
Oh, nice technology. All right. You don't need to be in whatever place. You could just utilize your technology. I like that.
Yeah.
So before I go ahead, let me just go ahead and read that press release there for you guys. It does say here JFF secures 2 friendlies for the Reggae Girls in February window, so this window. And it does say here this press release is a little bit dated from the 12th of February. It says here the Jamaica Football Federation has confirmed 2 friendlies for the Reggae Girls on February 23rd and February 26th against South American side, my apologies, Peru. Both matches will take place in the capital, Lima, at the Estadio Miguel Gol. The kickoff of both games is 4 p.m. Jamaica and Peru are currently on the same time zone. This will be the first time that both teams will be facing off against each other since the 2019 edition of the Pan American Games, where Jamaica secured a 1-0 victory. Similar to Jamaica, the Peruvians are using these fixtures in preparation for the 2027 FIFA Women's World Cup qualifiers. President of the Jamaica Football Federation, Michael Ricketts, spoke about this arrangement, and he said, "We are committed to ensure the FIFA windows prior to the World Cup qualifiers in October 2025 are occupied for the girls, and this window is no different. We are confident that these friendlies against Peru will continue to aid Coach Busby and his staff in preparing the team for the World Cup qualifiers later this year as we work towards qualifying for 3 senior FIFA Women's World Cups in a row. The Reggae Girls squad for these 2 friendlies will be unveiled tomorrow, which makes it Monday. So that squad announcement is expected for Monday. Reason being, from what I understand, maybe Siobhan could correct me if I get this one wrong, but the reason for the delay, from what I can understand there, guys, pertaining to the squad announcement, is that the delegation were previously in Guatemala for the U17's Men's World Cup qualifiers. Of course, we know we needed just a point to advance to the 2025 FIFA Men's U17
Crystal, why you have to do this to
up.
me?
But let me not go no further. Let me not go no further. Backtracking, squad announcement set for Monday. And there you have your press release. Again, we are gearing up to play against Peru. Those two matches there is expected to be shown on JFF Live. And I think that's amazing. I think now, thankfully, through the brilliant work of people like Kyle, Garrier, Siobhan, MG, and a couple of the other lads there on the ground, thankfully, and JFF, of course. I think we're now at a point, massive thank you to Kyle and Gary. We're now at a point in time where we don't have to worry about missing out on those international friendlies. I know I could probably safely say, as it relates to international friendlies for both our men's and women's team, at least we don't have to struggle to find streams no more. So that's a massive thumbs up to the Jamaica Football Federation. More importantly, Kyle and Gary are the brainchild behind this incredible initiative. Long may it continue. Some more exciting news, again, from what I can understand, based off my sources, the JFF have indicated efforts will be taken to market those 2 upcoming matches against Peru. Apparently, there's some big news to come next week, fingers crossed, in relation to marketing these 2 games. Apparently, they're looking to do things that they've not really done in the past. No idea what they mean by that, but we might have some news for you guys later on in the week. So with that being said, do keep your eyes peeled on JFF Live YouTube channel. And you guys should be expecting some content from what I can understand. And what's been like your best taught lesson in all of this, Siobhan? Because I think the first game for you guys was the South Africa friendly back in November, December time. What's been like your
Yeah.
best taught?
So firstly, it's a great opportunity to know that being able to assist in some aspect with our country's football has its challenges, believe me, as you could have seen.
Definitely.
Trust me, we've had the challenges, but as you know, we learn with each experience. Once you receive once there's a mistake, you learn to learn. You get to learn from it immediately. But for me, the best thing so far is just being able to assist in bringing the games so that persons are able to see it. Before
Massive.
that's one of the main things. I know persons aren't really fully happy with the product per se, 100%, but knowing that you are able to see the product, seeing the football, and that's one of the biggest joys for me. Because that's one of the main things. I always wanted to do something to at least try to uplift football in Jamaica, and to know that even if it's just 1% or 0.001% have an impact, at least I know that I have made some form of impact. So that's the main positive for me, to be honest.
And it's, again, you're saying something that I didn't even think of, but as you know, I've given Kyle his credit, and I'll continue to give him his credit, as I will with the likes of Garrier. And one thing I've said to them, and I'll say it to yourself and to the guys listening for transparency, I am so happy that this brainchild belongs to a Jamaican. I am so happy that the person that came up with the idea, and it was right there in front of us, that we need to be able to see these international friendlies for the men's team and the women's team. I am so thankful that it was started off by a Jamaican and it's been led by two Jamaicans, because if it was from someone who was outside of our community, and we do see this very often in entertainment, where people from outside of our community come in and they do something that really and truly it should be someone in our community that
To-
comes up with the idea and execute it and so on. And I think because it's being led by two Jamaicans, is offering opportunities to like someone like yourself, Siobhan, where Jamaican born, love the game, love your national team, and you're able to, just like you said, work in Jamaica football. Whereas if it was an outsider that came on board with this idea, you probably be nowhere near it. And I
True.
think people like yourself have earned your right to play your role in bettering our football. And I think the good thing again with this brainchild being led by Jamaicans, real Jamaicans, is that the product keeps its authenticity, because we're in the midst of everything. You have eyes in YouTube, you have eyes in the social media world. Your brethrens, them are Jamaican born and bred, so what we want, like our standard. And I think from there, you and the team will be able to deliver and to keep that
and that
authenticity.
and
You
that
know.
honestly, Crystal, that drives me because
Mm.
the first game, um even though we within our team we said that there is no first game, that first match didn't happen. For me, I blocked out every single thing from the first game against Trinidad, and I said I'm going to make sure that Sunday's game isn't like Thursday's game, because I knew what persons were looking for. Even though I didn't see the complaints online directly, I could feel it because I was once a fan. So
Yeah,
I could
yeah.
tell what persons were thinking, and I said to myself, "Hey, I want to ensure that we do deliver a better product." And I'm not sure if I should say this, but I was one of the persons who did say to the JFF, "Hey, for the second game, you have to make it free. Cannot put it behind that paywall thing, because
There you go.
we made an
Authenticity.
error. We made an error. Well, not necessarily an error, but the whole production of it being set up with the VPN, it would have caused some delays. So I wanted to assure persons that it wasn't necessarily a technical issue as well, because we can do it. And as I said, we didn't do much different in the second game. It's just that some small details in which we did cover up. Me and MG in particularly, he the day before the game, he stayed up until like 3 a.m. running multiple tests, etc., just to ensure that the Sunday's game ran perfectly, etc.
Yeah.
So I have to give a lot of credit. And also, one of the best thing I should have mentioned, it's this whole football thing. It's the friendships that I've actually built with persons as well. You have a Simon, you have a Manningsman, in particular, you have a MG. Without these football things, these are friends that I think I can have for a lifetime, to be fair.
Sometimes that's the best friendship. One of my closest friend is basically a brother to me. We literally met through football. I always say like football is a language in itself, and
Exactly.
yeah,
Um,
and
Even through the communities, the chat groups, you have Grammy in the chat. Me and Grammy we chat it up, we run jokes. So there's a lot of, it's not one positives. Through this whole thing, it's not one positives. There's a lot of positives, and I'm learning a lot as well. I'm learning so much through this. I'd never thought I'd ever be somebody that's, because I'm a producer of a broadcast itself. I produce that entire a broadcast for an entire football game. And
that's
if you said that
great.
to me 2 years ago, I would have said, bro, stop lying.
but that's what I'm saying. Like I am so glad, and I've like I said, I've expressed, how I feel to Kyle, and I'm just like, you know what? Thank the Lord that you came up with this brainchild, because if not, people like yourself who are deserving would not get nowhere near that, because that would just go to an outsider, and the authenticity would lose its spark, would lose its rhythm. So, big up Kyle and big up Gary and big up you and MG Sports as well. And yeah, hopefully you guys just continue to get better with each game that it comes, and just keep that authenticity going, because it definitely is needed.
And I can assure to every viewer that's here right now, you haven't seen anything yet. Best believe you guys have not seen anything yet. So stay tuned to JFF Live. I know it was a rocky start, but Microsoft and Apple started off in a garage. So
Mm, got to start from somewhere.
it was a rocky start, but and just take my advice. This is just the start. So
I
there's
like
a
that.
lot more to come. Believe me.
I love that. So there we go, guys. We got that team announcement coming to you tomorrow, Monday. So I'm going to be back to talk about the team announcement and also listen to that press conference with you guys. But before we close off on the show, we definitely have to talk about our queen, our skipper, our captain. I know we spoke about Miss Khadija Shaw on a few live streams ago. And we spoke about the racist abuse that she received in a game against, I should say, from a game that she played against Arsenal, not in the game. Don't want to confuse anyone. And subsequently, she had to miss a match because of that. And I don't think I need to go too deep. I've already spoken about Bunny Shaw and the racist abuse that she received. She did say in an article I saw that she didn't want to share what was said from, I just want to call them like nasty people. I'm assuming they sent her direct messages over onto her social media platform, assuming that came from Instagram. Don't quote me on that. But it is good to see that she has since made a return, and this weekend is even a better return for Khadija Bonnie Shaw. I'm not sure if Siobhan saw this one. He probably did. Um, of the brace that Khadija Bunny Shaw scored, I'm a massive fan of the second goal. I love it.
Crystal, I'm a City fan.
Oh, so you would have seen the goals then. My apologies. I did not. You know what? It slipped my mind. Yes, you did say that you're a City fan. So those two delightful goals there from Khadija Bunny Shaw, massive fan, especially of the latter. And I think this is such an iconic photo. I don't think you need us to dissect
Say
this one.
more. I kind of saw some persons already commenting some bad things, saying that her teammates did not support her, but a lot of persons don't understand that she did it like this, and the reason her teammates were actually behind her, but they wanted her to make her stand, to make it stay.
Yeah. I think it's pictures speak a thousand words, as they say, something of that ilk. And I'm siding with you on this one. I think they wanted her to have her moment.
Moment, correct. So it was
Exactly.
a
'Cause it's
very powerful message.
massive
Um,
message, Khadija Bodishaw.
yeah. I always said to myself, because my brother is actually in England as well. He's actually in London. And I
Mm,
always ask him, does he experience it? And he's saying to me that honestly, if he gets it, he doesn't know because he kind of turns a blind eye away from it. But the thing about it is that she's a public figure. So when you have persons in her DM, etc., it's I know it must be demoralizing, especially to the fact that what she's doing. Because I always tell this to Crystal, the only time I am actually truly happy is when I'm playing football. When I'm playing football, my team could be losing. I would still play with a smile on my face. And I know there are a lot of players out there like that. Believe me. So I know that she's doing this, she's happy. And then to know that there are persons out there with those nasty, nasty stuff, I'm happy she was able to stand tall and to let everybody know that, hey, you guys are not going to break me.
You know, it's like it's shattering. I think I've touched on this on my channel before. Obviously, you guys know that I've definitely worked in football, worked in English football. Can't say that I'm in any hurry to go back into working in English football. To be honest with you, I don't want to. As a black woman, I don't have no desire, no burning desire to work in English football because they're not pleasant towards, the industry isn't pleasant towards black women or like black people in general, but even more so as black women. So I don't know what was said to Khadija Shaw, but definitely standing by her side. And it is horrendous. It's horrible. And your racism comes in many different forms. You know, in regards to your relative that lives in London, one of the things that happen is like everyday racism, which I've spoken about on my channel before. Even recently I was doing like food shopping with my little one, and I go into the store and it's the everyday racism. Like the security guard is following me and I have to be mindful because I don't want to react in a certain way.
No
But
way.
it got to a point where I was just like, hey, I was like, do you want to come and search my bags? And then he
And
started to act, yeah, he tried to act like he wasn't doing anything. Oh, you know, I'm just here to help you. I said, I don't need your help. And if I
and the
need
thing
help,
about it, Crystal, you know that has actually happened to me in Jamaica already.
I can only imagine which store did that to you.
It was a store owned by somebody of a different colored skin than mine,
I could only imagine. I don't think you need to go any further.
and it was me and my friends. One of my friend, he works on a cruise ship, and his son was just born, so he was literally, we went there to get some stuff for basically for his child, and we were there getting cribs, the necessary stuff. And I realized that every corner, because I was at the back, because I'm always the troublemaker in some aspect, but not giving rude trouble though, but I'm like gimmicking. But I realized that every single where we went, I saw not even the security. It was one of the owners of the store. And I was like,
Mm,
so I stopped and I asked him. So I did it respectfully. I said, is there an issue? He
yeah.
was saying, no, no, no. Not going to same accent or nothing. And I'm saying, no. He
Hmm.
said, no, 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 is that an issue? Someone says, so why are you following me? And they say, I'm not following you. I'm not following you. Someone say, yes, you are.
Yeah, it's
If
racially profiling
Yeah,
you.
so I said to you that if you think we're a thief, just say that and we will leave.
Mm-hmm, 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 mm-hmm. It
And then
even
that's
happened maybe 2 weeks ago, Siobhan. Again, I went to buy some items in a store that's like maybe 10-15 minutes away from me. And I noticed the guy, the guy that's at the tail, he turned towards me and he's watching me. So I turned to him and I said, you really think that I am so low and pathetic that I will come in here with my child to steal drinks? You think I'm going to be stealing drinks from your store with my child? And it was like, proceeded to say, no, no. I said, it's like, no, I'm just watching. I said, you don't need to watch me. You need to face the front. You do not need to be watching me because I've
exactly.
got security cameras on me. So how stupid would I be to know that your store has security cameras and I'm here with my face showing, with my child's face showing, and I'm going to be stealing drinks? And straight away I said, look, you've just lost a customer. And I just walked out. And he was like, no, I didn't mean it like that. I was like, you did mean it like that. And I went as far as to let him know that I'm an immigrant in this country. You're an immigrant also. So do not think that your skin color is better than my
Than
skin color,
mine.
because it's
True.
not. Because
Uh,
some of them, Siobhan, they believe that they are equal to the white man and they are not. You are not
believe
equal to
me,
the
believe
white
me,
man.
I know. But that situation, I kind of learned from that situation that even in my own country, a black man's country, you're still susceptible to it. So I was like,
Siobhan, you're because I would have reacted very differently to you.
no, that's the
Would have
thing. My mom,
very
all right,
differently.
so, all right, so just like how I called out the earlier commenter for being disrespectful, that's how
Yeah.
I am. I don't deal with, well, anybody that's in the group, they can attest to it. I'm not really one for disrespect. I don't like it.
let me explain this. Okay, so I've just touched on your comment. There are certain people in this country, certain communities who think that they are equal to the white man in the sense that they believe that you are less because you are black, and that is what I'm talking about,
About
right?
y-
So that's
yeah,
why I reminded him that you are not equal to him because they see themselves as white, meaning that me with my black skin is the scum of the earth. So that's why I reminded him that I am an immigrant because I was not born here. You are an immigrant also, and you are not equal to the white man. So get off your high horse. Okay? I'm not
yeah,
saying all white people look at us the same, but you are not equal to them. Certain people from certain communities carry that belief. And I'm not going to paint everyone with the same paintbrush, but certain people do believe that because they're a certain color, they see themselves as equal to the white man, and therefore, me as a black woman, I'm lesser than them. Sometimes lived experience, you have to live certain things, experience certain things to understand fully what I'm saying and where I'm getting at. But I hope I've added some I don't know, meat to the bones of what I said.
yeah. Because I'm saying, that's what I'm saying. I'm really proud of Bunny.
Mm,
I'm really happy that, and the fact that she scored as well made it even
yeah.
better.
Two
Made it
lovely
even
goals. Two lovely goals.
so
No,
much
I
better.
agree with you, sir, in the comment section. I agree with you. I agree with you, but that is the reason why I responded like that, right? But obviously, definitely standing with Bunny, and not all white people think the same. Let's just make that very clear. And there will be some black people that see you going through racism and not stand by your side. Let's make that very clear as well. I always say it comes down to the person, not the color of their skin. Yeah, because the same way the whatever, however the white man can treat you, your own can treat you just as bad.
That's it.
Please believe.
Yeah, so Bunny.
You know.
See, they're actually she's actually all over Twitter as well with it.
Yeah, I mean, I need you guys to see Bunny's second goal. And it was actually, I like to call this the Reggae Girls derby, Siobhan. She played against Taylor Hines, Liverpool. And for context, just to make sense of everything there, they basically thumped Liverpool 4-0. And what that means is they're going into the international break with a classy finish, 4-0 win over Taylor Hines' Liverpool in the Barclays Women's Super League. Two delightful finish there from our captain, Khadija Shaw. The second of the two is a delightful finish. Please do go ahead and watch that finish there from Khadija
For
Shaw.
sure.
Do this with class. I'm actually desperate to bring her to my club. I know Siobhan don't want to hear me say that, but I'm desperate to bring her to my club because my
No
club
man,
has
no man. Hey, hey, hey,
my club had no diversity whatsoever. Should be ashamed of themselves.
hey.
Um, so there we have the mighty, the powerful Khadija Shaw with a one fist salute, and we know what that salute stands for. And I think that's probably the perfect way to round off the show. Big up our
Hold on.
captain. Go
Cranky.
on.
Cranky came on. Cranky. I wanted to talk to you about something because I think we probably I'm not sure if you're really with it, but I think we us YouTubers, I think we have a voice, and I think it's something that we need to really shed light on. I'm not sure if you were here earlier. We were talking about the conditions of the national stadium itself. Um, it's so Cranky. I'm not sure if it's possible we could talk. If possible. So if you can just link the Manning's man or somebody, or we can just so I can just reach out to your Cranky if possible.
Yeah, I think you're right. Even if it is a case of a marathon, big up yourself, Cranky. You guys do head over to Cranky Live and subscribe to his channel if you haven't done so already. As always, Siobhan, where can people find you?
Yeah, so really follow MG Sports on Instagram, follow MG Sports on YouTube. Also have a graphics page, but it's rarely do any graphics much these days. I do most of it on MG Sports. As you know, MG Sports YouTube platform, we're going to be starting doing some contents. Ensure that you follow the Reggae Boys and Girls Supporters Club. Follow on Instagram, follow Crystal, basically all of that. So there's so many
Follow
stuff.
all of us.
Yeah, follow everybody. Follow all the YouTubers. Follow Cranky. Follow MG. Follow everybody. we're all one big community, even though we may have differences. But all of us have the same goal in seeing Jamaica's football reach to a better stage.
100%. There's a lot of us. Also, big up Elite Sports as well. You very kindly plugged the last watch along that we did of the U17s. I'm not gonna go any further. I don't want to traumatize Siobhan, but big up Ryan. Thank you for plugging that for me, bro. I definitely appreciate your support. So, echoing what Chevron has said, the space is big enough for all of us, guys. We're not always going to be on the same page as each other. We're not always going to be in the same agreement as each other, but we definitely can add unity to the community. There's a thing that the UK YouTubers do so brilliantly well in the sense that they all support each other. I've seen
True.
times where they do it so well where they finish like, for example, I'm doing my live stream now, and I would I'm in disagreement with Siobhan, but by the time I finish my live stream, I'm over on Siobhan's channel and I'm taking my
Hmm.
audience with me. And people in this space need to understand that no one can take your audience away from you. I'm saying big up Cranky Live. I can say that a million times. Like, my audience is still my audience. I can say big up Elite Sports, big up MG Sports. My audience isn't going nowhere, so we can support each other, guys. We don't have to always be in agreement. Let's just make it amicable, because I think that's the next thing that we need to change. Like, we're helping the JFF to change, but we also need to look at our ways as well and see that we change within the community so that the community can become a little bit more warm. It's still toxic. It's not as toxic as it was maybe some 2 years ago, but we just need to get better at showing support to each other. How does that sound, Siobhan?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I would personally love to see everybody back on good terms, even though that may be different because of the different personalities. I know we as Jamaicans with our egos, very egotistical. So,
I
but
agree. I
but
agree.
but I think it is possible. Persons just need to, as everybody can do the same thing. As you say, Cranky just had his show, and he immediately came on Crystal's show. So
Yeah,
there's
I
nothing.
agree. I
So
agree, Siobhan. I think people need to just put, and we're not calling out nobody. So I don't want no one to say, oh, Siobhan said this, Crystal said this. We're not calling nobody out. We're just saying, put aside your differences, guys. Like, tomorrow isn't promised. Like, we're all here for our country. I look at what the English YouTubers do, and I just look and I'm like, damn, I wish we would do that as Jamaicans in our
yes.
community. Do you know how powerful we are? Like, we have a brand that other countries begrudge. And if we could remember, there's strength in numbers, guys. If we came together, no one can toy with us where the 12th man is concerned. All right. Before I forget my manners, massive thank you to Mr. CC Sports and also Mr. Siobhan for rocking with me for almost 2 hours. I did say half an hour, but I think when it comes to talking football, we can talk about it forever, unfortunately. Um, I will be back tomorrow. I haven't decided on the time yet, but I will be back tomorrow to talk about the squad announcement, which will be led by head coach of the senior women's national team, Hubert Busby. And yeah, we can talk some more about that. Any final words there, Siobhan, before we close off?
Just want to say, everybody, thanks for joining the stream. The conversations was lively. As you know, we all have the mission. We're all disappointed about what happened 24 hours ago. But we all live to fight another day. There's a U17 again next year, and we have the senior team that will be looking to qualify for the senior men's World Cup later this year as well. The women will be back in action as well. We're getting to see Bunny coming back. Well, unfortunately, she won't be back home, but she'll be back in the national colors soon as well.
Definitely. I'm excited for that squad announcement tomorrow, guys. I'm sure you guys are. It is pretty late in the morning for me. It is 7 minutes to 3 a.m. So I will have to try and get some beauty sleep before I get back to you guys tomorrow. If you're new to the channel, I do hope you've hit the subscribe button. I hope you've also hit the like button on my channel, as well as over on the Reggae Boys and Girls Supporters Club. And I do hope to see you all tomorrow. And you know how it goes. Until next time, take care.
I'm John Barnes, and you're watching Talawa TV with Crystal Davis.